aluta boza, aluta boza, aluta continua.
Federal Polytechnic Ekowe cannot be held hostage. Students' future is non-negotiable. Distinguished members of the press, fellow compatriots, and of the greatest Nigeria students.
Grace.
The National Association of Polytechnic Students, NAPS, representing over 28.1 million Nigeria polytechnic, monotechnics, colleges of technology, and in the diaspora, speaks today not with whispers but with convictions. Federal Polytechnic Ekowe cannot be held hostage. A citadel of learning designed to illuminate the creeks of Bayelsa with knowledge has been dragged into darkness by selfish ambition, ethnic prejudice, and reckless unionism. An institution built as a sanctuary of hope is now chained by ego. As Tinubu warned, when the center cannot hold, things fall apart. We are gathered here because the center of Ekowe, the students, cannot and will not be allowed to fall. And we say this today with three names rigging as a rallying point of justice and urgency. Dr. Lukman Adegoke Agbabiaka, Rector of Federal Polytechnic Ekowe, the Federal Government of Nigeria, and the Nigeria student. These three stand as the tripod on which the institution's survival now rests. On the crisis, our findings are clear. Management ordered Dr. Lukman Adegoke Agbabiaka has recorded visible achievements, which are lapsed MBT accreditation since 2019/2020, now restored till 2029. 2-year NYSC and ITF ban lifted and reinstated. Hostels refurbished with solar powers, workshops revived, ICT centers established. These are not promises, they are realities. These are not promises, they are realities. The Academic Staff Union of Polytechnic, ASU, is neither on strike nor in rebellion. Their communique of 16 July 2025 raised safety concerns, not mutiny. They expressed readiness to resume classes immediately once guaranteeing security coverage to prevent further confrontations like those unleashed by NASU talks in the past under the leadership of the NASU chairman. The student union government acknowledged management developmental strike but lamented the suffering inflicted by the crisis. Students have endured over 3 months without lectures. Graduation dates are uncertain. Parents are frustrated and future acts suspended. The general of this crisis. At the heart of this crisis stands the NASU chairman, Mr. Etebu Ebifeye, aided by his ally, Mr. Nessi Ebimie Dengiyefa. Their grievances are not born of justice, but of selfish personal benefits. Imagine a man parading a fake computer certificate from a non-recognized institution with only 3 credits, demanding an upgrade to the senior staff cadre, even though he has long been overplaced on Curtis 5, a salary scale meant for ND or NCE holders. Imagine a senior engineer with only past degree scheming to be elevated to director of works, while more qualified seniors remain in line. This is not struggle. This is greed masquerading as unionism. We have seen how far things have degenerated under the last administration, where Mr. Etebu Ebifeye served as NASU secretary under the current state NASU chairman, Mr. Nessi Ebimie, both of whom are now holding the Polytechnic to ransom despite repeated plea for peace and dialogue. We recall how far things degenerated under the last administration, where Mr. Etebu reigned unchecked. An illegal satellite campus was established with school fees divided into private accounts instead of the Polytechnic's TSA account. Statement of results carried the weight of student future were shamelessly printed in business centers. Unauthorized deduction when management demanded for written consent from employees whose salaries are to be deducted as enshrined in Constitution, Section 5, Paragraph 4 of Labor Laws 2005 as amended. The unions with their Abuja sponsors flee into flames. He led an illegal strike without due process, which is very, very verifiable, and falsely drew ASUU into the crisis by going to classroom with talks from the community and preventing lectures from going on. Hence, this circular of dated 16/7/2025 by ASUU declaring the campus unsafe till date. Files reveal 45 records, ghost workers, and dubious promotions. Imagine the travesty. A non-staff of the Polytechnic was sponsored abroad to United Kingdom with Tedford resources. But these union leaders, namely Arogo Charles, Sanip, and Igbunu Wigita Predo, NASU secretary, who are bursary and internal audit staff, refused to protest. Many staff sponsored by Tedford to study abroad never returned, clipping further interventions from Tedford. Student funds meant for development were squandered to service illegality. And still, he said in his words that nothing on earth, not even the intervention of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFRO, could make him return to dialogue except or unless the rector is suspended. That is not unionism. This is blackmail. That is sabotage. The deep rot. It must also be stated that the imbalance in staffing is alarming. The number of non-teaching staff is almost 400% that of academic staffs in this polytechnic. How does an institution of learning survive when its teaching arm is so heavily outnumbered by clerical hands? Worse still, the quality of academic staff is deeply troubling. Many lecturers are teaching with third class and even with pass grade. The current ASUU chairman himself has been teaching for almost a decade with nothing more than a first degree, without a postgraduate qualification, without meaningful research outputs. How then can ASUU claim to be a defender of academic values when its leadership has failed to respect the basic demand of scholarship itself? Call to the host community. We call and openly address the stool of Ekowe and the EDGs of Ekowe community. This polytechnic is your pride, your legacy, your covenant with posterity. To allow it to collapse is to betray not only the management or the government that established it, but your own unborn children. If this crisis is not resolved on or before 8th of September 2025, NAPS will have no option but to demand the relocation of Federal Polytechnic Ekowe to another community in Bayelsa State. As Mgbeke reminds us, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Call to the President and security agencies. We call on the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFRO, to act with urgency. 1. Deploy the Niger Delta Military Joint Task Force, aka Operation Delta Safe, to Federal Polytechnic Ekowe, safeguard lives and properties, and restore academic stability. Protect the life of the rector, Dr. Lukman Adegoke Agbabiaka, who is being threatened with hidden telephone calls, WhatsApp messages, among others, informing him that he is not from Ijaw extradition, but a bloody Yoruba man. NASU and SANIP leaders must sign undertaking on this immediately. A federal institution must not remain under siege by one man's ego. Our appeal, humble appeal to the NASU chairman, to Mr. Etebu Ebifeye, we say leadership is not stubbornness. Unionism is not war. Deploy wisdom, embrace dialogue, and remain the sacred purpose for which union exists. But if you persist in sabotaging student progress, NAPS will, in concert with our sister unions, declare you persona non grata, not only on our campuses, but anywhere two or more students gathered in this country. As Socrates taught, the unexamined life is not worth living. A union leadership that cannot examine self descend into tyranny. Our demands as follows. 1. Students must return to class on or before 8th of September 2025. Governing Council investigation panel to quickly complete the job and diligently look into all issues, including points raised by the rector and his prayers not to be swept under the carpet. Security agencies must safeguard lives, properties, and restore peace on campus. The reckless conduct of the NASU chairman must be subjected to psychiatric evaluation, for a mind that rejects dialogue but embraces destruction needs healing. Conclusion. This is the defining hour. The destiny of a student of Federal Polytechnic Ekowe hangs in the balance. Education is the bridge between poverty and prosperity. To cut that bridge is to condemn a generation. As Wole Soyinka said, justice is the first condition of humanity. Justice delayed for our students is a future denied. We echo again with clarity and conviction. Dr. Lukman Adegoke Agbabiaka, Federal Polytechnic Rector Ekowe, the federal government, and the Nigerian students, these three names stand as rallying cry for the survival of this institution. Therefore, we declare boldly, Ekowe cannot be held hostage. Students must return back to campus, and our future is non-negotiable. If this crisis persists beyond September 8th, NAPS will mobilize nationwide solidarity action, shaking the creeks and echoing through Abuja until our students return to class. Enough is enough. The future cannot wait. Education cannot be silenced. Aluta continue.